Good afternoon, fellow ruminators. Welcome back to another session, Rumination with Andrew. Thank you so much for joining as we are about to discuss a very important topical matter. Now, this afternoon, let us talk about Lisa Hanna's, that's the MP, the Member of Parliament. I think, is she still a Member of Parliament of the People's National Party and former beauty queen, Miss World of 1993, Lisa Hanna's so-called hypocrisy. Well, I would say that this is really flagrant hypocrisy as regards dancehall, particularly Vybz Kartel'S music. Is Lisa Hanna displaying flagrant hypocrisy in her, what should I say now, changed political, not political, but dancehall taste in terms of Vybz Kartel music, her so-called now new love for Vybz Kartel'S music. Now, Vybz Kartel, for those of you who don't know, resides now in the United States. He has decided to leave Jamaica and he's now living in the United States. I think he's living specifically in Florida. And he was on the Breakfast Club in the United States, and in which he was interviewed, and he says that he wanted a new environment and to grow. Now, I saw him on quite a number of video clippings on TikTok with Spice, because Spice is also another dancehall artist and who resides in the United States, and they're living in their mansions, having wonderful time. And he went to visit her at her residence, and when you see the level of artistic gyrating of the bodies, it's just it leaves more to be desired. Let me just say that, and I'm not going to, you know, put these things on the video. But let us look at Lisa Hanna's article that she wrote for the Jamaica Observer that was published on Sunday, April 27, 2025. Why Jamaica must, she says that dance hall's global takeover, why Jamaica must host the future of this genre. So she wants Jamaica to host the future of dancehall music in Jamaica on Jamaican shores. She starts off by saying when Vybz Kartel sold out two back-to-back concerts at Brooklyn's Barclays Center earlier this month, it wasn't just a win for a single artist, it was a resounding testament to dancehall's global economic force. So everything we see in Jamaica has to do with economics, even if the values are not wholesome, but everything we must attach some money value to everything that we do, right? And that is what our politicians are all about, right? Just equating us. We're just objects and everything has to be equated with money. And I'm not suggesting here that money is not important because don't we need money? But if we're going to do that also, and we are going to lower our standards to sell just about everything that come out of Jamaica, irrespective of how inferior of a quality it is, it means therefore that we're not different from people who are into scamming and other things who are just doing things for money, right? Because money is in scamming, all these lotto scamming and everything, right? Within minutes, nearly 20,000 fans secured tickets to witness Carter's first US performances in over 2 decades. The moment was electric, historic, and painfully ironic, because while Jamaica exports the raw, pulsating heartbeat of dancehall to the world, she remains without a single world-class concert venue capable of hosting an event of similar magnitude on her own shores. And that is true. I think we remain with lots of other lackluster and decrepit infrastructure, including what we call the ward theater and all of these things. We do not have modern facilities in Jamaica. We just lack modern facilities for everything in Jamaica, whether it's acting or it's music or schools or national stadiums. We have not lived up to the modern era. We are not in the modern era as far as Jamaica is concerned, right? Because of the strictures of austerity, of economic austerity, we have not been able to build. And Lisa Hanna was a part of the PNP government. Her government was instrumental in inking out that IMF deal in 2013. And both parties, both the JLP and the PNP, have contributed to racking up the debt, not for the Jamaican people, as I have argued on this program many times, but they have racked up the debt for the Jamaican elites and themselves. And then they require that we pay back the debt that they have racked up. And the same thing is happening in North America, where the elites, Wall Street, have racked up the debt along with the politicians. And then they are telling Americans that they have to meet the sacrifices with Trump's Dodge, right? Trump's and Elon Musk's Dodge, that they have to cut back on waste. But the fact of the matter, if you look at what Wall Street and the military industrial complex and the politicians do in terms of wasting and the wastes that they've allowed to happen for themselves and for their cronies, then you don't understand that it's not the ordinary person in the United States. In fact, many of the United States citizens are drowning in debt, right? There is no freeness being given. There's no free lunch in the United States anymore. Remember now that it was under Reagan that, you know, the sort of charitable state was eroded, right? What we call, you know, that, you know, being charitable and offering people stuff. I forgot the terminology that they normally use. But let's continue with Lisa Hanna's article. If you ask me what I listen to when I'm psyching myself up for major debates or writing deadlines, you'll hear dancehall pulsating through my AirPods. Interesting. I grew up in the dancehall, feeling the bass rhythms reverberate through my chest, moving me in ways that even now I find hard to explain. I would find it very interesting that Lisa Hanna, when she's writing an article, is going to be dancing to the pulsating rhythm of dancehall music. Very interesting. I wonder how the brain concentrates with that pulsating sort of music. Now, I would like to know. That's not the case for every Jamaican, but it's for me. And as Vybz Kartel'S Barclays Center shows confirm, it is for millions around the world. The millions of people who congregated to have listened to Vybz Kartel'S music, right, is something that Jamaicans should be proud of. We should be proud that a son of the soil has gone to Brooklyn and is allowing people to gyrate their bodies in the most despicable way, right? Because that is how Jamaica is. That is what we are all about, right? Divulging to the world about us and ourselves and our culture, that it is an inferior type of culture, right? Dancehall is not simply background music, it's motivation, defiance, expression, and freedom, right? It is defiance and it is expression and it's freedom. Freedom. It is a global force shaping culture far beyond Jamaica's shore. But I would like to know what the people think about dancehall music, apart from the young people who are dancing and thinking that all is well and that it's an expression of freedom, right? As Lisa Hanna is suggesting here. She's suggesting that it is a form of an expression of rebellion and freedom, right? Now, Spotify's 2024, this is Lisa Hanna, she continues, Wrapped report revealed that reggae and dancehall streams topped 10 billion plays worldwide last year, with massive listenership spikes in non-traditional markets like Germany, Nigeria, and Japan. TikTok's internal trend reports cite dancehall beats among the top 5 non-English music categories, influencing viral dances and challenges. On YouTube, Jamaican artists consistently generate view counts that rival and often surpass those from much larger markets, which is true. If you look at the YouTube trends, you look at Shabba Ranks and, you know, and these people, right? I don't know these names, right? And I'm not particularly fond of our dancehall music and the sort of culture that it has shaped and molded in Jamaica. I'm not fond of it. And any well-thinking Jamaican should not be and would not be fond of dancehall music, and particularly the lyrics that are often associated with dancehall music, and the level of vulgarity that we see on stage shown by our, what you call it now, our dancehall artists. Artists like Spice, Sean Paul, Shenseea, Shenseea, whatever her name is, and Buju Banton command global audiences, selling out international tours, collaborating with major pop stars, and influencing everything from fashion trends to television placements. The international appetite for dancehall is not theoretical, it is quantifiable, growing, and extremely lucrative. Despite this, Jamaica finds itself watching much of the economic benefits slip away. International promoters, festival organizers, and entertainment conglomerates recognize the value of our sound and seize it, while at home we struggle with aging infrastructure that cannot accommodate the scale of modern entertainment. And that stands true for everything, Lisa Hanna, from education to the play to the plays, to dramas, as I mentioned, the war theater. I mean, just about everything, we do not have modern conveniences. If you want the full experience of Jamaican music today, you don't head to a stadium or a concert hall. You go where the real magic happens. Weddy Weddy Wednesdays with Stone Love, Boom Sundays with Boom Boom, or Bossy Tuesdays. In the past, it was the top line and front line blazing down Red Hills Road, Raytown Sundays, Super D sessions, and the legendary Passa Passa that transformed Tivoli Gardens into an open-air dance hall. So she's suggesting here that we need to take advantage of the international exposure and of dancehall music, and that Jamaica can generate some income from dancehall music. But let's go back to Lisa Hanna's statement and her attitude towards dancehall music in 2017, when she was, opposition leader on youth, I think she was at the time. Here, what is dance? Here's this coming from Loop. This is coming from Loop News, and it says Jamaicans being hostage by violent culture. Lisa Hanna says death threats support her point on music. She said disgusting comments aimed at her, including death threats, that's Lisa Hanna, over her view on music being produced by incarcerated DJ Vybz Kartel, only justified her point. Against that background, she said Jamaicans must be prepared to have a national discussion on the issue. The undisguised violence, this is Lisa Hanna speaking, and vulgarity of disagreements posted and the sheer volume of anti-social attitudes were like megaphones screaming at Jamaicans to wake up and smell the decay into which Jamaica's proud history of decency and mutual respect has plummeted, Hanna wrote in a post to her social media page on Monday. Hanna, in a radio interview last week, reportedly said that she believes music produced by Vybz Kartel from behind bars should be banned from public airwaves because he is a convicted murderer and because of the negative influence his songs may have had on children. Her reported comments triggered backlash from Kartel fans, many of whom posted derogatory comments and death threats against the former minister on her social media page. Police have since launched a probe into the threats. Now, listen to what Hanna is saying here. Every day, every Jamaican is faced with choosing between what's right versus the new normal. But our courage is being held hostage by a culture of aggressive abuse and violent threat that passes for disagreement, Hanna said. Jamaicans can't any longer pretend we haven't created an alternative culture. We can't pretend this culture is normal or healthy, she continued. I pray that all Jamaicans who value common decency will find the courage to push back against this new normal and defend Jamaica's true culture. If we lose this battle, however, unpopular the battle or its choosing may be, we will have lost Jamaica. Right? So here's a little, preview into her article that she wrote about Jamaica's decadent culture. Now, from my life's experiences, I've learned courage has no limits. This is Lisa Hanna speaking. Courage can be perceived as stubborn or unreasonable. Courage can force you to stand alone on principle. Courage can create the perception you're choosing battles unwisely that could adversely affect personal ambition. But courage has a responsibility to future generations to take a stand and act in a manner that's in our children's best long-term interest. Courage forces you to recognize that this coincides with Jamaica's best interests. For example, when Norman Manley stood up against the world at the United Nations and declined, or declared rather, Jamaica would ban trade and travel with the apartheid government of South Africa, he stood alone. He stood for what was right. He chose a most popular battle, one that appeared unwinnable at the time. Jamaica was the first country in the Western Hemisphere to take such drastic action. Norman Manley had the vision and courage to believe he would be vindicated by history. Over 50 years later, Jamaica finds itself at another historical crossroads. Every day, every Jamaican is faced with choosing between what's right versus the new normal. But our courage is being held hostage by a culture of aggressive abuse and violent threat that passes for disagreement, which you'll see on my videos are also very violent people, illiterate, violent, and boorish people we are. This is now Lisa continues to say, I'm an unapologetic lover of music, including dancehall. But there's no necessity for some artists to use music as a medium for promoting violence and abuse of women. But that is essentially what dancehall music does. The data confirms that violent and sexually rather, explicit lyrics have negatively influenced many Jamaican youths' thought processes through increased feelings of hostility and aggression. So she talks about the fact that dancehall is contributing to the level of hostility and aggression that we see very pervasive in the Jamaican culture. These negative influences are exacerbated when we turn a blind eye to airplay of new productions by persons we know are incarcerated, so may have been abetted by corruption in our prison system. This reality necessitates us being urgently honest with ourselves. We should be prepared to have a national discussion about messages glorifying criminality being conveyed to our children that will ultimately bring deleterious consequences. These messages have been pushing us towards a different society from the one in which we say we want to live. I commented publicly on this recently, and the media house chose to give my comments a particular headline which encouraged others who choose to conflate the issues and completely overlook my central message. So the media houses are in cahoots and they are complicit in what we see happening with dancehall music. That's par for the course. But the disgusting comments on my social media pages expose the dark and vitriolic underbelly of this new normal and justify the point I was making. The undisguised violence and vulgarity of the disagreements posted and the sheer volume of antisocial attitudes were like megaphones screaming at Jamaicans to wake up and smell the decay into which Jamaica's proud history of decency and mutual respect has plummeted. And she's right. She's right. Right? She is right. Now, listen to what she continues to say. Jamaicans can't any longer pretend we haven't created an alternative culture. We have created an alternative culture, according to Lisa Hanna. We can't pretend this culture is normal or healthy because it is not. We can't tolerate this alternate culture currently in ascendancy, yet pretend to have zero tolerance for crime. It's time we admit this alternative culture promotes and encourages violence against and contempt for women. We can't defend what's on its face unapologetically misogynistic and immoral while pretending to crack down on violence against women and children. But this is the same Lisa Hanna who's talking about developing infrastructure for Vybz Kartel music. Now, what if Jamaica had had a modern venue to have accommodated Vybz Kartel's recent concert that was held, that was staged in Brooklyn? Now, Lisa Hanna is suggesting that it would have yielded a lot of money for the Jamaican economy. Now, has her stance changed in terms of how she sees Vybz Kartel's lyrics and his music? Now that he is no longer imprisoned, now that it seems that he has won the battle against some of his naysayers, has she now joined his side, or is she now willing? Is Miss Lisa Hanna now willing to join Vybz Kartel's side when she pronounced some years ago in 2017 that his music was decadent and that it was contributing to a further decay of Jamaica's so-called quote-unquote decent culture? Has she changed her position? That is the question we need to ask Lisa Hanna. And this is the Jamaica that we live in. We live in a hypocritical society. It seems to me now that Vybz Kartel is on the side of the PNP, along with the likes of the Ralph Gonzalez of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He's on Mortgagee's side. So, and Lisa Hanna is herself a People's National Party representative. It seems now that she is trying to, I wouldn't say promote Vybz Kartel's music, but she seems to be now shedding a positive light on his music. So I would like to know what is the difference between Vybz Kartel of 2017 and the Vybz Kartel of modern times? I don't see a difference. I have not yet seen a transformation in Vybz Kartel's music, his demeanor, his attitude. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen a person who has matured and who is now trying to tell our young people that badmanism and this lewd, boorish lyrics are not going to bring Jamaica or bring themselves anywhere, are not going to prosper them. I am not seeing that. In fact, what we're seeing in Jamaica is that badmanism and this raunchy, debased, decayed culture, that is what pays. So we find now that Vybz Kartel got his visa. Now, when you think about it, and I'm not suggesting here, because Vybz Kartel won his case, but the fact is that Vybz Kartel has a lot of things on his record that have not been dealt with. And the United States Embassy was able to give him, I don't know if it's a green card or whatever he has there, but he has some visa. He has legal rights to live in the United States. Yet we have Trump every day sending people away, right? That they're criminals. While the likes of Vybz Kartel, who have been in many, many troublous waters, is in the United States and is not touted to be a criminal or an ex-convict. Trump is deporting people who speaks out against what is happening in the Gaza area. And the likes of a Vybz Kartel, who is promoting violence in his music. Violence even against women. When you see the level of gyration and how they were gyrating their bodies on the stage, right? Highlighting it, promoting it as the Jamaican culture. And no wonder people don't really respect Jamaicans, You think you're respected, right? But people don't respect the Jamaican culture because of how we have showcased ourselves and who they regard as our primary representatives. And there were thousands of people, young people at that, impressionable young people at the concert that was recently staged in Brooklyn, New York. Now, this is the culture that we're promoting. So once Lisa Hanna sees that Vybz Kartel is winning the battle, or perhaps has won the battle and is now back on the international scene, she's now suggesting that his music is quantified, right? And if Jamaica were in a better position in terms of having a more modern venue to have hosted his international concert, that Jamaica could have taken advantage of such a concert and the monies that it would have generated. This is the sort of Jamaica that we live in. These are the politicians and their lack of vision for society. That, they would be in bed with criminals and they don't care once it's yielding some monetary economic return. Now, we need to go back to the drawing board, and including Lisa Hanna, and she needs to ask herself a question. Has Vybz Kartel'S music changed? Has Vybz Kartel himself been transformed? Right? Has he transformed? Has he been transformed? Right? I don't think he has. Then why is it now? What has changed her position from 2017, where she is suggesting that she had the moral courage. She had the moral courage to stand up and spoke out against what was happening in the Jamaican dance hall. See what was happening in that genre and how it needed some form of transformation. What really has changed Lisa Hanna's position, I would like to ask? Or is it that she's just one of the hypocritical politicians that we have in Jamaica? This is a serious indictment on Lisa Hanna and the fact that she has changed so quickly. So who can believe her anymore? She's not consistent in her stance. Is either Vybz Kartel's music was bad yesteryear, it's bad today, or it probably was bad yesteryear, but we're seeing now some transformation in it. But has Lisa Hanna seen any transformation in Vybz Kartel'S music? And why is she now putting a price to his music? Right? And would she have hosted Vybz Kartel'S music international concert in Jamaica had Jamaica had a modern venue to have hosted such a large gathering of people? Would she? Right? I am at a loss in terms of where we're going as a people, but it is right. She's right that we have an alternative culture. We have a culture that is largely decayed, and I don't think we're heading back anytime soon. I don't think we're heading back to any level of decency, right? And a semblance of law and order. I don't think we're heading back. I don't think we want to head back anyway. I think we like the lewdness. I think we like raunchiness. I think we like the debased culture because, as we like to say, is Jamaica to the world. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you'd like, share, and subscribe. Remember to like the videos so the videos can be shared with as many people on the platform. See you in another one. Ciao.